What's going on, everybody? It's your boys, Josh, aka the Moses of Muscle. Delilah just kicked something down here. And Cousin Creamy in the building with the Next Up podcast, episode 3. This one's gonna be getting hot, baby. This is gonna be a good one. I like this one. We're talking any given Sunday. Doesn't matter who shows up. So we're gonna start this off real nice and simple. Obviously, both of us coming from a college sport, high school sport background. How did you guys go about like knowing who you're playing against, knowing who's showing up? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you want to just show up and perform? Talk to me about that, especially from like a baseball context. It's going to be way different than like how we had to do it for football. So I'm gonna let you shoot from the hip first, and then I'll get into it.
Word. Yeah, I mean, whenever it came to baseball, it was like you always had some form of like scouting report. So whether it was like how they were the year prior, how they were games prior. So you always did your research. You always had tape and film. What you could kind of get your hands on. Like again, football, you filmed everything. Baseball, I mean, unless you went and saw the people, you didn't really get too much intel. No one really filmed too much unless you're like a bigger school. But yeah, you would always at least know like the big names. So you knew, okay, this kid, you have to watch out for him. He's a big bat. These two pitches are lights out. This guy has a nasty curveball. So it's like there's little things that you had to like pick and choose of like really what you looked at. So there wasn't an overview of, okay, and again, from like a football standpoint, this defensive formation or this offensive, like whatever the case may be, it was like for us, it was super intricate. It was like you have to watch out for this specific thing from this specific guy at this specific time. Like when like eighth inning comes when this kid comes in from the pen, if you're not swinging, you're done. Like it was just really, really intricate. But from like a sports perspective, yeah, you needed to know who you're going against. You needed to know the faces. You needed to know the names. And definitely on my take from a bodybuilding perspective, I don't give a fuck who I'm going against that day. I could care absolutely. I mean, I will say I used to be super like, okay, who's doing my show? Who's doing my show? All I did was get in my head. Not worth it. For me personally, I'd much rather just show up and just have a freak just walk in and be like, oh, try again next time. But I don't want to know who's showing up because all I'm going to do is get in my head and cause more stress than necessary. Because, like we were saying, you have to show up and be the best for you and be the best for yourself. But if I'm too worried about if I'm worried about the uncontrollable, and not the controllable in my like life of bodybuilding or just life in general, then what are we doing? Like for me personally, I'm like, what am I doing? Because I'm getting so worked up and worried, but it's like he could show up and be off that day just because he looks fucking huge on social media. He could show up and be just built like a fucking beanpole. But, you know, social media loves to lie about everything.
Yep. All right, you boy. I'm dropping names. I'm coming hard with this one. So we're gonna start this one with high school football. Coach Mark Mayer had this thing in our locker room at St. Anthony's. We would have posters and pictures, and you would walk in on a Monday, and there were pictures of their best players on our walls. He thinks he's better than you. This, that, and the third. We were number one team in the state. It wasn't close my junior year. We were dominating. We walked into our championship game, won 35 nothing. Like we were next level. But this guy thinks he's better than you. This, that, and the third. So I was very used to having someone in my face and being like, this guy's better than you. Beat him, prove it. In college, same thing. We didn't have stuff like that, but it's like you had a scouting report. You had to know who was in front of you. That's mad funny. My phone is right next to the computer, and one of the people I'm calling out in the bodybuilding portion just like the message. So shout out Caleb. Um, but like you had to know who was in front of you. You had to know their little tendencies. I'll go back to the movie Invincible, Vince
Yeah.
Papali, Mark Wahlberg,
Mhm.
Maki Mack. another one. So like when his roommate throws him on the ground, and he's like, "Look at my knuckles." If they're white, that means there's pressure on them. If they're not, that means that there's not. And this is going to tell you the stance and how that guy's coming off the ball. Like little intricacies of like looking at the guard before the play, if he has his weight back in his heels, if his weight's forward on his hand, if that's going to be a run or a pass read just for, I played linebacker. So it's a little things like that. It was making sure that you looked at every little intricate detail to turn around and give yourself the best idea of what was going to happen. Split width, like is the guard a foot away from the tackle or is he 2 feet away from the tackle?
Mm.
If I can make that call before the play, I might know what's coming at me. And that was huge. Now we go into bodybuilding.
Oh God.
So bodybuilding is different because, like you said, it's anyone can show up looking off or looking on. But personally, this is great for me because I believe that I was going in the universe and I was going to be class D. So I'm looking at the guys in Class D and who I think I'm competing against. And I see Joe Davies, or Joe Davis, I see Dom Carter, I see all of these guys in Class D, and then I'm looking at the Class B guys who I think are going to be there and who are winning. And I'm looking at Caleb. I'm looking at Class A. The only person I knew doing Class A before Garden States was at that time Keith. I
Oh,
knew that
okay.
you were somewhere in the mix, and I was looking at all you guys, and I was staying quiet. But in my head, during every single training session, I was beating the absolute dog shit out of every single one of you. I did not care that I was in a dark place, and all of you were in the room, and I had to fight my way out, and I was winning every single rep. I didn't care. It's one of those things for me that like I need the challenge, I need the competitor. I want to know who I'm going against because I want to face. I want to target.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I can hit the mark, but if I see your face on that bullseye, I'm coming. I'm coming full speed.
Like I get it 100% because, the competitive aspect of, what our lives once were, you want to have that grit and that drive to just, that's the shit that's getting you through the sessions. You're in it. You're 2, 3 weeks out. Shit blows at the time. You're suffering, but, you know, a fucking a pro card or a win, whatever, would taste that much better. But on the flip side, like for me, I just like if I, for instance, saw I don't know who won Class A, but like for instance, Kid Joe, Joseph
Louis
Moore.
Frias won
Yeah.
Class A. He showed up to Garden States, and I looked at him. He spoke not a lick of English, and I just sat there and I go, "What the hell is that?"
Well, the worst part is like I kind of got the short end of the stick on that one because again, I don't think I looked bad, but like
Of
I
course.
lacked from the rear for sure. But I had to walk out first comparisons next to him, and I was like, "Fuck, dude." I was just like, "Okay, we're walking up these stairs. I got fucking striated glutes in my face. This is just the kid looks like a fucking alien. Like his shape was just ridiculous."
Mm, again, spoke no English at Garden State, and I'm talking to him. I speak a little bit of Spanish, and I'm talking to him and like trying to piece together what the judges are saying to us or this guy. And I'm like, yo, unless you walk up there and they say front double bicep and you turn around, you won.
Yeah,
Like it don't matter. He was just a different breed.
yeah.
Have you seen him recently?
No, I'm kind of scared to
What
see
is
him. He's probably
he's a
fucking huge right now.
mutant, mutant,
Hold on.
gigantic,
What's his name? Louis
gigantic.
Frias?
Yeah, L
I gotta
U
see
I
it.
S. If you go on my Instagram, I follow him. Mutant, absolute mutant.
Yeah, it was he honestly he reminded me a lot of like Dino. And when I saw that, I was like, oh fuck.
Hmm. Yeah, he is absolutely incredible. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to the any given Sunday context, like Yeah, anyone can show up, anyone can be at their best, anyone can be at their worst. And that's all well and good. But when you're in the gym, and it's a very mono sport, right? Like it's you against you. You know if you did the diet, you know if you did the cardio, you know if you executed that last rep to the best of your ability, or if you just kind of bottled it, banked it.
Yeah.
But it's really, really nice to know that like when I'm sitting there and I'm going on the Cybex hack squat, and I look at the video that you did the week before or the day before,
Hmm.
and I'm like, hey, Colin's my boy. I'm gonna send him my video, but like I'm gonna make my reps look cleaner than his reps, and I'm gonna get one more. Why? Because I want it. Because I know his legs are better than mine. I gotta turn around and I gotta get there. I gotta catch up.
Hmm.
So it's like for me, that is so imperative to this sport is like I want to have something I'm chasing down. I mean, one of the hashtags that I used to use on my Instagram posts was better than Bumstead. And people used to turn around and like either DM me or comment and be like, this guy thinks he's better than Bumstead. It's like, no, I don't. But I'm shooting for that. I'm
Yeah.
coming for that. I don't want to turn around. You think I want to be second place? Second place is the first loser on stage. I don't care. I have two medals hanging at my desk next to the hardest leg press I've ever used at the gym, simply because they both say second place on them.
Yeah.
I don't want that again. I don't care who shows up. I don't care if Sebum goes back to being an amateur and I got to go against him. I don't want a second place medal,
Yeah.
period. I wanted to throw it out. Like it means nothing to me to turn around and even worse. You want to talk about you don't win second place? You sure as shit don't win 14th. I got 14th place in my first national show. Some
Hmm.
people would be like, "Oh, at least you didn't get last." I did get last. In my eyes, I got last. I did not get what I came there to get.
Yeah.
I don't care if I got outsized. I don't care if I was out conditioned. I don't care. I did not come there to get 14th place.
And that's kind of what kills me from that perspective. Because again, we come from a very competitive background, and I feel like whenever, you go compete, and don't get me wrong, there's people who show up and, they're just happy they competed. They don't give a fuck about the placing. They're just like, I did it one time, one and done. But like obviously for us, it's different. You want to have this mindset of you're gonna win no matter what. I'm that guy, I'm that motherfucker, and I'm gonna go there and win. It's just hands down. So it's like even this past year when I competed at Atlantic States, I was held center stage through like 5 rounds. We getting ran through center, 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 didn't get fucking moved. Went like to a back double. Oh yeah, back double, turn us around, abs and thighs. Then they told us to relax. I got bumped to third place. From first to third, third place, went to left prejudging, came back to finals, third place, and I was so upset. And it's like, yeah, sure. It's like maybe they saw something that obviously I didn't, but it gets to the point where you get ran through so many times. You see you're getting compared to everybody, but you're standing center, and then all of a sudden they just bump you out. And okay, your qualification's done. You didn't win your show. You nothing. So it was like you kind of take that one on the chin, and I was so upset about that one because I knew that I was the most conditioned with the best proportions on that stage, and they just didn't see or didn't want what I had to give, and it fucking hurt. And when you have people like, oh, it's okay, like you did your best, it's like, no, motherfucker, it's not okay. I came to win, and again, from my perspective, I feel like I got the shit end of the stick on that one. But it's like the people who try to comfort you and make everything feel okay and feel better, like, no, it's not okay. And, you know, I hear stories of just like, oh, you don't know what I did with my medal when I got second place. I didn't even want the fucking trophy. But those are the same people that turn around and be like, oh, you should be proud of what you achieved. It's like, what the fuck did I achieve? A third place placing? That's great. Fantastic. That doesn't mean dick to me. It's like, oh, cool. You got a medal at a regional show. You can't win a regional show and you expect to go pro? Oh, okay. So And
Yep.
again, that's a lot of the times when people go and for all the first time competitors or even second time, whatever the case may be,
Yep.
if you're going to a fucking regional show and you can at least win your class to qualify for a national show, I'm sorry, then you shouldn't be going to a pro qualifier with any sort of expectations. Because if you can't win a regional show, what do you expect to do at a pro qualifier? Because instead of just pulling from that general region, or you have the miscellaneous people that travel, I don't know, two, three, four states to come to that specific show. If you're gonna come and say go to USA's, you're from Jersey, you're from Maryland, you're from wherever, and you fly to Anaheim, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking win. Excuse me. No, 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 no. It doesn't fucking work like that. You're gonna get people from all over the country, from all different walks of life, all different shapes, all different sizes, with all better proportions than you. And they're going to walk you. And you're gonna have a very shitty time because your expectations are here, but what you've delivered this season is here. There's a huge gap you have to meet, and you ain't gonna do that in the matter of 2 weeks.
And I will 100% sit there and say I was that competitor. I came into Garden States. I did not win my class. I didn't even win the true novice class. I came in second
Wait
in
a minute.
full.
Wait a minute. This is your first year competing?
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
That I
So,
didn't know. That's kind of crazy.
so I came in and I talked to I re again, I'm dropping names. I don't care. I remember backstage after I got the second place medal, and people were like, "Oh, you qualify for nationals. You qualify for nationals. You're gonna do it?" And I go, "Why in the fuck would I do it? He's gonna be there talking about Nick Piambino." And I'm sorry, Nick, if I butchered your last name.
No, you got it.
I go, "Why would I do that? He's gonna be there."
Yeah.
And I go, "He just beat me here." And then the competitor in me came out. Because I remember I was driving home and I talked to my friend Jamie. Jamie turned pro at Nationals or at Universe. And I was like, why would I do this? I was like, this is stupid. And as soon as we got off the phone, something in my head switched and I go, because I'm gonna fucking beat him next week. I go, it's a week. I go, what can I do in 1 week? Because at the end of the day, did I expect to go pro at Universe anymore? No, because from the time that I drive home Sunday to the time of 4th of July on Thursday.
Mhm.
On Thursday, I left from Ultimate Gym in Hicksville, you know what it is, to go to Universe to go weigh in. I said, I have from Sunday to Thursday to make the most amount of change I've ever made in my life and absolutely catch and beat him.
Yeah.
There was no more expectation of going to Universe and going and getting a pro card. There was one person to beat.
Mhm.
And I said, I'm going to outpose, I'm going to outperform, and I'm going to win against one person.
See, and that I can respect though. That
And I
is
did.
like I can truly respect that just due to the fact that again, you want to go with the mindset of I'm going to go and bring my best package. So I'm 100% with that because if you're going and you're in the mix and you're getting flopped with number one and okay, then it was a coin toss and it didn't land in your favor. Sure. But it's like if you're going to go and put in the work and even in a week's time, you're going to come back leaner, you're going to come back tighter, you're going to come back harder, drier. You can do that. But it's when you have the people who are like, I'm gonna come back and fucking win and put the same dog shit effort that they did the entire prep for the last two, three, whatever, 1 week leading up to the show. It's like those people that really bother me because if you're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different placing, I'm sorry, you're going to have a very, very rough night after spending $350 to sign up for a goddamn show.
Let's not even just, we won't even mention the hotel and tanning and pictures, and we
I
can
mean,
keep
again, a
going.
pro qualifying weekend, if you're lucky if you're not spending a grand.
I don't think a grand is even.
I'm
I
saying
think it's
bare
closer.
bones.
Bare bones, I still think, tolls. If you don't live in if you
Oh
don't live
yeah.
in Jersey,
Yeah.
if you don't live in the place that you're competing at, flight, tolls, gas,
Food.
food, you want to stay in your car, go ahead. But like you're still spending money. I promise you, you're going over a grand.
Yeah.
If you want to do it right, you're going over two.
Yep.
So,
And that's a lot of the times, even when it comes to like regional shows, same thing. People want to get into sport. They say everything's expensive, blah blah blah. But like when you're on prep, yeah, of course you have your prep buys. You buy shit just because you're on prep. You need dopamine. But for the sake of what is truly needed to get you to that show, the tanning, you don't need to buy the photos. To be honest, I bought photos like once or twice. I don't need the photos. But it's like the show itself, the suit, granted, shout out that we're gentlemen and need like a $70 pair of fucking posing trunks because the bikini girls and wellness girls that spend like 800 to $1,000 on a fucking suit plus blow my mind. But regardless, um, it's just, I always tell first time competitors like you better start save because that shit will run you fucking dry if you're not saving.
hmm you got to be, you have to have not just what you think you need for the show, but you need to have double that ready to
Yeah,
go.
easily.
I I personally had a box that I was started dropping money into every month or every week, just to make sure that I had excess kind of saved up as a just in case. I
Yeah.
called it my just in case, and thank God I had it because Delilah, my dog, for anyone who does not know, decided on both peak weeks she was going to need to go to the vet 4 times. So much for relaxing during peak week. Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
So she had to go to the vet 4 times. Um, and we are definitely running out of time, but I think that we got everything at the end of the day, like running hot. Like at the end of the day, even those two medals, from my feedback that we talked about, I think in the first episode from the judges,
Yeah.
the thing that held me back was my legs. And if we didn't talk about it, that's what I was sent was that the thing that held me back more than anything was my legs. So where was the first place I put the medals? Right next to the leg press.
Fucking
Why?
bury yourself.
Why? So that when I turn around and before I go into the set that I don't want to do a set of 15 on the leg press, I can look over to the right, see those two medals hanging there that people think is some sort of an achievement. Now I know that it's sitting there as two big old fuck yous.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, I'm supposed to get 15 here. If I don't send this for 20, that's a bad day. If I don't send it for 21, that's a really bad day because not only did I get 14th place, but there's a 7 tattooed on my arm. And I think that if I get 14th plus 7, that's 21. I got to get 21 now. And mentally, that's how I will turn around and I will get myself there. You have to do it. And I
Yeah.
think that to any competitor that wants to come into bodybuilding, wants to come into a sport, if you're sitting there and you're like, well, I want to just do it for the experience. Fuck that, man. The experience, the experience of you coming in and getting fifth place in a true novice or fourth place in a true novice or even fourth place in an open at a regional will not compare to you showing up with the idea that you're going to come in and dominate and then doing.
Yeah.
Like it's cool and all to turn around and get the experience of the sport. This is a really interesting sport because it's not a sport. And we can go into this one, the next one if you want to.
Oh
Bodybuilding,
man.
I'm gonna make it quick. Bodybuilding is not a sport. Why is it not a sport? Because if you want to get better at football, you practice football. If you want to get better at basketball, you practice basketball. If you want to get better at baseball, you practice baseball. If you want to get better at bodybuilding, you go work out. But then you have to translate it to posing. Not the same. So it's a really
Yeah.
interesting sport to get into because it's not exactly a sport and anyone can do it and anyone can show up and all you need to do is pay a fee. But to really be there and really be a competitor, there's a difference. And that's a mindset thing. So I
Yeah.
think we'll wrap it up there. And next week we won't run quite as hot, but we'll talk this week because I think it was needed.
Yeah.
show our real personalities here. So
Oof.
we'll wrap this one here, and me and you will probably hop right back on the phone as always. So
As always.
thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that influencer stuff. I think you're supposed to say that at the beginning, but whatever. We'll get it. We'll get it
We're get we're
eventually.
getting better at this. We're getting better.
We got the third episode done. They say that most podcasts die after the third, so hopefully we'll see you next week.